Hi everyone, it's me, Krylios, Team Rayceen Productions co-host and moderator.
And I'm Tiffany Green-Williams, Team Rayceen Productions co-host and moderator. Joining us is Greg Maye. Welcome.
Hi, nice to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us, Greg. Before we talk about your 2024 write-in campaign for DC Shadow Senator, please tell the viewers a little bit about your background and who you are.
Well, thank you for having me again. My name's Greg Maye. I'm a native Washingtonian. I have a small business, a nonprofit. I've been working for DC advocacy for quite a while. I was even participating in some of the things from Mayor Barry's office ever since I was a kid. I even worked for a little while in the Office of the Mayor Youth Affairs. I also worked with, I was a lead for Organizing for Action, which was originally Obama for Action. And again, my focus now is DC statehood, and I'm running for the DC Shadow Senator seat so that I have a larger platform to introduce some ideas that I believe are a little more creative than what we're currently doing, and I'd like a chance to introduce that to as many people as possible.
Thank you for sharing. Please tell our viewers what the DC Shadow Senator does and why you want to be elected.
Unlike the other Senate seats, the DC Shadow Senator seat is more or less an opportunity for someone from DC to advocate for DC statehood. So they don't get to vote, and that's the main reason we need to move that from its ceremonial position to a real Senate seat where we actually have representation in our government.
Certainly, certainly. Now, tell us, why did you decide to run as a write-in candidate?
Um, again, I think we all have things to contribute. I feel my particular contribution here can be in the way of one, putting out a message that I'm not currently hearing, which is that DC suffers from, in my opinion, complacency that's come through years of boiling this frog so slowly that no one really seems to even believe that this can be done. We've grown to pretty much tolerate this as some form of acceptable voter suppression. So I think my position is that if we start kicking up enough dust, that we make this something that can no longer go ignored, and to realize that our current strategy is just not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. We've been doing this for quite a while the same way, and I think that we have to be more creative. I think we have to make sure that everybody else understands that they also have skin in the game, that not letting DC citizens have representation in our government is a minority manufactured way of maintaining the status quo. The things that DC needs is the same thing that the rest of the country needs. However, we are allowing it to be mired in Congress and pretending that the country is divided evenly, 50-50, on things that we all know that just don't go through Congress because Congress is really not functional. So DC statehood is the linchpin, right? 2 more senators makes a difference with everything that all of us need and makes our government function like mature adults.
Great points. Thank you. So I may have touched on it just a little bit or alluded to it rather, but what are your top 3 issues?
Again, I think the biggest, broadest point is that everything that we need that our government should or shouldn't be doing comes down to having representation in the Senate. So I'm totally convinced that passing reasonable gun legislation, insulating our judicial system from being taken over by politics, so that all the things that have to go through the Senate confirmation process, Supreme Court justices and such, Department of Justice heads, all those things are voted on in the Senate. So anything that we'd like to see our government do or stop doing starts in being able to have something other than a 50-50 split in the Senate. So that's what I think the main points will be. And some of the things that I've been trying to point out is that there are places and people all over the country that will also support us if we start to say that we won't tolerate this anymore. I see our situation a lot like Ukraine's, in the sense that if they had simply sat down and let Russia take over, even the liberal countries, even the democracies would have been okay with that. They assumed that that was inevitable, but instead Ukraine fought. And when they fought for themselves, it became quite apparent that other people would step up and help them. And I think with need to impeach, which is the still that we're looking at currently, we can see that lots of people have similar ideas, but until DC citizens insist that this is an injustice that has to come to an end sooner rather than later. This should not be a multi-generational fight. This is voting. In the 21st century, for us to not be able to see that voting rights being denied to a state's worth of citizens is such a disgrace to even the concept of America, that if we don't stand up and do something, we not only harm ourselves, but we do a disservice to the rest of the country. One of the things we could do is have DC statehood's Tea Party boycott. There are a lot of ideas that we could be doing that make other people realize they also have skin in the game. A perfect example would be that Kentucky, one of their main exports are cars, and DC citizens buy cars. There's no reason we should be buying them from Kentucky if they're sending two senators who have openly stated they will never vote for DC statehood or for having DC citizens have the same representation that their citizens have. We can get cars anywhere. If we do it, other people will also probably join in, and little by little, people, even if they don't understand at this point, other people will gradually understand that their futures are tied to our futures. And if you can't understand what is and what isn't representative democracy, maybe you shouldn't be in a leadership position in a representative democracy. And March with Washington is another one of those things that I think we should be doing, which is designed to unseat, among other things, politicians who are hostile to representative democracy. March with Washington encourages everyone to not see Washington, D.C. as Capitol Hill, but to see Washington, D.C. as what it really is. Citizens that are just like the citizens around the rest of the country. We don't have to march on Washington, even though, of course, that was a necessary title for what they were doing at the time. What I'd like to get people to focus on is marching with Washington, because Washington, D.C. Is part of the United States. We can't treat part of the United States differently than the other parts. You can't have representative democracy with pockets of dictatorship. So March with Washington starts as a social media event And hopefully we'll be able to grow our numbers and our audience in a way that'll let us have, if necessary, huge in-person marches. Along with that, we have an organization called Stand-Ups for DC. And Stand-Ups for DC enlists the help of comedians to bring the topic in front of audiences that may not otherwise be tuned into politics, but with brief explanations of what the cause is, how it impacts everyone, and then we can go on and have some fun while we keep that momentum and take those viewers hopefully to our website where they can learn more and participate as much as they would like to.
Certainly. Thank you so much for sharing about these awesome organizations and projects that people can get in touch and in tune with. Now, while they're doing that, please let the voters know why you are their best choice come this election cycle.
Well, thank you. I think there are a lot of people out there that are helping. I think my special focus will be that I will not only do it while we have election season, I will do this as close to 24/7 as I can. My focus is a passion that says that we definitely have to be talking about this and focusing on it nonstop. A lot of people's schedules may not allow that. This isn't even, to be honest, it's not even a paid position. So I think there are fewer and fewer people that can actually devote the amount of time. And on top of that, I think it's one thing to believe that it can happen. I think I am probably, based on the people that I've spoken to, particularly optimistic about the fact that it can happen and not long off in the distant future. But I think we can do this, and we should be working on doing it with a sense of urgency. I think the last part that I want to focus on is also that this is not something that should only be done by trying to convince other people. This, no doubt, is a civil rights violation on many levels. And I think that this also should be in the courts nonstop, just like opponents of other things chip away at, for instance, Obamacare, year after year. They'll go to court 60 plus times with nonsense. And when was the last time we actually forced the courts to make decisions about whether or not this is constitutional or not? There is a guarantee clause in the Constitution that says that Congress's duty is to guarantee representative democracy, or a Republican form of governance, for all of the country. This is definitely not a Republican form of governance. So the 4 pillars that I think we should be focusing on will be to unseat, educate, boycott, and litigate. And I think that clear focus that I'll be able to bring to it nonstop will be, I think, my unique contribution here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So can you let our viewers know when voting begins?
This is the November 5th general election is coming up. I'm running as a write-in candidate. Fortunately, we have a small enough market that I should be able to get enough attention, and I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to explain something that, again, goes often overlooked. And I think the opportunity to run also gives me the platform to introduce these ideas. And while I'm confident that we can win this seat come November 5th, I also relish the idea of being able to talk about this again nonstop until we've remedied this injustice.
Certainly. Now, please tell our viewers how they can learn more about you and how they can support your campaign.
Well, thank you. My website is Greg May for DC, and that's spelled out. With that, you can find all the different events and activities that I've discussed today. And of course, donations will help us get our signs out and our mailings as it gets closer to Election Day. So gregmayfordc.com.
Awesome. Viewers, please look in the description box below for links. Thank you for spending time with us, Greg.
Thank you.
To those watching, please follow Team Rayceen on social media and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Viewers, thank you for watching.